Thanks for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers this Tuesday. This Nigeria is first, leading with this latest regarding the controversial budget padding allegations. Well, the man in the eye of the storm, Senator Abdul Ningi, is said to be under fire over his allegations regarding the 3.7 trillion naira budget padding. And more northern senators disown him. One of them, one of the senators, Jimo, wants the NSF chairman, that's Ningi, prosecuted. But the Bauchi senator says, I was misquoted, ready though for suspension if that comes his way when the senators converge today for their plenary session. And SANU, that's the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, have a message for the president saying, salvage Nigeria's economy before it becomes irredeemable. FG, that's another story, owes 100 billion naira debt of electricity bill. That's according to the association ANED. Next is Silent Times. Also on the alleged budget padding, Ningi insists on the 3 trillion naira budget padding, saying he's not afraid of suspension. 3.7 trillion naira not linked to any report, he says. Northern senators disown Ningi, affirm support for Tinubu and Jimo Ibrahim. Senator Ningi must be charged with criminal misinformation. That's according to Senator Ibrahim. Obasanjo leads investors to Angola, meets with President Lourenco in Luanda. And that's the former president in the picture story there with the Angolan president, how Lourenco regarding investment opportunities and shared history between both countries. Emefiele pulled out billions of dollars from the foreign reserves without Buhari's approval. That's yet another salvo from the presidency. There's a story there also on Silent Times about a 70-year-old man without formal education bagging honorary doctorate for having 78 inventions. Now, soldiers beat man to death for flouting curfew order in Nasarawa State. All right, these are some of the stories on the front page of the Silent Times. The Punch says, 28 trillion naira budget brouhaha. Parties demand 3.7 trillion naira pardon probe. Northern senators disown Ningi as the chairman of the Northern Senators Forum insists on 3.7 trillion naira allegation. Senators APC, PDP seek sanction investigation over the matter. Tinubu condemns farmer herder clashes, unveils Niger Agric Airport projects, and that's the president also in the picture story there, unveiling some of the latest projects in Niger State on Monday. Commuters groan as one-chance robbers invade Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. SANU, NASU tackle federal government declare 7-day strike over unpaid salaries. FG laments blackout despite 65% subsidy once discos. Pray for Nigeria to overcome challenges, governors tell Muslims. And on terrorism, UN begins Lagos-Abuja airports security audit. UN begins security audit of the Lagos-Abuja airports. New Telegraph says, still on the 2024 budget, Ningi in trouble as 7 more northern senators disown him. I was quoted out of context. He says that he also spoke for himself and not for the forum. Arewa think tank expresses disappointment. Charge him to court, says Jimo Ibrahim. Post-poll crisis, Jandor expels Bode George, expels in court, that is, and not only the chieftain Bode George, that is, but Bokno Akirili, others from Lagos PDP, declares himself apex leader of the party in Lagos. Forum asks the NWC to probe diversion of election funds by Jandor. That should make an interesting read. You should check that out. Naira relapses, falls to record 1,617.96 to the dollar. This on the official market. On hunger, open borders now to ease suffering. Kano governor tells Tinubu. All right. On contracts award, witness admits Emefiele didn't confer corrupt advantage on himself. That's an ongoing trial involving the former CBN governor. UK bans overseas health workers from bringing their dependents. In Kaduna State, bandits demand 40 trillion naira, 11 Hilux, 150 motorcycles as ransom. To first news now. Hardship is the lead story there. That's the caption of the lead story. That is, Tinubu begs governors to implement wage awards now. Says it will provide much needed relief devoid of inflation. Urges all states to adopt wage award. Knocks for EFCC presidency over silence on Beta Edu and Halima. This appears to be another developing story on the social investment program scandal that occurred or started earlier in the year. Ahead of the Ondo governorship race, Ayeda Tiwa, the governor in the state, to declare intention to seek fresh term today. This in Ondo State. Rivers crisis, that's another story there. Wike's group turns against him, backs Fubara, vows to fight him till death. Nigeria among countries with lowest value-added tax, say EU and ECOWAS. Have survived 5 assassination attempts. Nnamdi Kalu, his lawyer, Nnamdi Kalu's lawyer, alleges. Finally is the nation. Tinubu to governors, pay wage award to your workers. President unfolds plans on student loan and livestock on massive agric airport projects, also inaugurated in Niger State. UK bars foreign health workers from bringing dependents. Race for Ondo APC governorship ticket hots up. Only 55,000 doctors to 200 million Nigerians. That's according to the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, who was speaking on Monday. Let's check out what Theo has.
All right, so from my end, we'll start with the Daily Times newspaper. We'll overcome challenges, feed our people. Tinubu assures Nigerians. Emefiele approved 45 CBN contracts for wife, as according to witness. CBN's liquidity challenges hampering support for the Naira, says EIU. And the top head, Sano Nasu to embark on 7-day warning strike over withheld salaries. And the senators insist 3.7 trillion naira projects in 2024 budget unaccounted for. PenCom debunks 10 trillion naira loan to federal government, says commission not owing pensioners. That's in Daily Times this morning. Let's move to Blueprint newspaper. Tinubu orders release of seized food trucks to owners. Kano governor begs for reopening of borders. Renewed hope agenda working, says Buhari Remi Tinubu. Budget padding. Ningi insists 3.7 trillion naira not traceable to project. Jimo Ibrahim calls for arrest. Northern senators disown lawmaker. Witness admits Emefiele didn't confer corrupt advantage on self. UBA African Guarantee Fund creates synergy to support SMEs. In sports, Africa Games, Umuafia wins 3 gold medals in weightlifting. That's in Blueprint newspaper this morning. Business Day says food takes bigger bites out of Nigerians' wallets. Analysis, is Nigeria due for IMF bailouts? That's the question on Business Day newspaper this morning. Of course, President Tinubu renews hope for oil and gas sector with build initiatives. You can see that graphical representation in Business Day newspaper this morning. The Vanguard newspaper says sub-regional forces working to destabilize Nigeria, says Presidency. Edo Guba stakeholders seek urgent resolution of Obaseki Shuaibu feud. UBA African Guarantee Fund partner on $100 million loan support for African SMEs. Ramadan, Abbas governors, OB others urge unity prayers for Nigeria. Energy crisis, federal government orders NERC to revoke licenses over non-performing discos. That's in the Vanguard newspaper this morning. We move to Platform Times. Afenifere demands immediate action on terrorism restructuring. Tinubu is doing well. Nigeria difficult to manage, says Buhari. EFCC arrests 37 suspected internet fraudsters. Peter Obi faces backlash over 400 SUV deals. Food crisis. Reopen land borders. Kano governor urges Tinubu. Lagos resident alleges police extortion using POS operator near beach. Sanu Nasu declares 7-day warning strike. Kaduna government threatens to prosecute kidnappers of 200 school pupils despite no arrests yet. That's in Platform Times this morning. Nigerian News Direct says, power epilepsy. Federal government to restructure electricity distribution. Target allocation of 1 disco per state. Moves to generate 6,000 megawatts in 6 months as Power Minister vows to revoke licenses of airing discos. Revenue remittance. You cannot blame us for the failure of licensees, says NUPRC. That's in Nigerian News Direct this morning. The Guardian says investors may forfeit dividends as firms struggle to survive. Bandit storm Plateau market kills 7 abduct Chinese in Kwara. Tinubu promises to fix farmers' herders' crisis in 3 weeks. Nigeria, others raise concerns about terrorism financing in West Africa. Open borders to address food crisis. Kano governor tells Tinubu revoke licenses of non-performing discos. Federal government orders NERC. Senators in feisty session over Nengi's 3 trillion naira budget padding claim. That's in the Guardian newspaper this morning. And finally, from my end, Daily Trust newspaper says Niger Republic junta ready to release Bazoum in dilemma where to keep him. While Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso snub ECOWAS readmission offer, Foreign Ministry mum. Hardship. There's nothing much anyone can do, says Buhari. Provide land for grazing, Tinubu tells governors. Muslim observe fast amid heat wave, high cost of living, power outage. That's in the Daily Trust this morning.
Okay, there we have them, all the stories on the front pages of some of the major Nigerian newspapers this Tuesday. One of them, there's a warning strike in Nigeria's public universities yet again, a 7-day strike embarked upon by the non-academic staff union as well as the senior staff association. These are all